If your business is stuck around 20 to 50K per month, working more hours is not gonna get you to the next level where you actually wanna be. In fact, that is probably the reason you are currently stuck and plateaued at 20 to 50K. Most founders think growth comes from either putting more effort, getting more clients, more leads, more marketing, or actual more hustle. But what actually gets you to the next level is something very different, and that is leverage. And most people misunderstand what leverage actually means. So today in this video, I'm going to show you the 4 types of leverage every service business needs and how to apply them in a simple, practical way so your business can grow without you being tied to it all day. So let me share my screen and let me show you. So stick till the end of this video, because by end of this video, you will learn and understand, number 1, why working more is currently actually keeping you stuck inside of your business, because a lot of founders currently don't understand that by working more, it's not going to help you to actually scale your company. It's just going to keep you actually stuck inside of your company. Number 2, the 4 types of leverage every service business needs. Number 3, how to remove repeated work from your day-to-day. Number 4, how to build systems that run without you. Number 5, when and how to use capital without losing actual money inside of your business. Number 6, how audience becomes your strongest growth asset inside of your business, okay? So first, I want to acknowledge that effort alone is not currently going to scale your company. I know a lot of you think that, hey, by working harder, maybe investing more hours, maybe doing more work and putting more on myself, I can scale the company a little bit more. Usually what ends up happening is because the way you have started to build your company in that way, you only can get to maximum 10, 20, and in some rare cases to 30K. But after 30K, you no longer can scale your company like this, because now your company becomes really fragile, and any clients added more will just add more pressure, more stress. And because you have really fragile systems inside of your business, most of those systems will be broken. So at the beginning of your business, effort really works, right? You maybe can reply fast to your clients, you can be on a Slack, you can jump on WhatsApp, you maybe can do everything yourself as well. You can do the marketing, you can start DMing, you can even start like back and forward conversations and communication with your clients. You also can jump on sales calls, you probably are jumping, you're closing, right? And you also deliver results, okay? And that will get you to 10, 20, and in most rare cases even to 30K. But then something has to change if you want to scale past 30, 40, 50, and all the way to 100K. The more you grow, the more messages you will get, the more decisions you will have to make, the more clients you will have to manage, and the more you will have to do. Eventually you will be stretched out where you will start to feel fatigued, burnt out, and it's like, hey, it's not worth it. So, and suddenly your day will be always full and you will always feel busy without understanding why you're so busy, but your company is actually not moving or growing, okay? So that's the moment where effort actually stops working, and that's when you probably will break your business. However, that's where leverage becomes really necessary. If you are currently sitting at 10, 20, and probably some of you at 30K, you really need to start thinking about actual leverage. Some of you will ask the question, what really leverage actually means, okay? So leverage is really simple. It means doing something once and getting the results multiple times, again and again and again. So instead of actually doing something repeatedly, like say you onboard somebody, and for every client that's being onboarded, you're onboarding them manually, you're jumping on a 1-hour call, you're explaining the process, right? Maybe before your team, every client that is jumped on and your team. And so this what is happening is taking a lot of time from you, and this is being done manually, okay? And getting one result each time. Like, so you're doing something once and you only get one result. So now you can do it once, but you will get results again and again and again. So there are 4 types of leverage that matter inside of your business and that you need to know about. The first leverage is the time leverage. Time leverage is where you buy back your time and you'll gain more time inside of your business. Number 2 is system leverage. That helps you to deal with manual work as well, but it also helps you to think with thinking processes, decision-making processes. helps you to also deal with your team and how your team thinks and how your team operates and executes as well. The number 3 is capital leverage. How do you use capital to delegate, hire, use paid ads? And then it's audience leverage. People that already trust you and they trust your judgment and they know and understand you. And then this becomes your 4th audience leverage, okay? So I want to break down each for you. So let's start with actual time leverage. Most founders waste time repeating the same things every single week, right? And some will be doing it every single day. And I already mentioned some of these would be onboarding, some of these would be answering the same questions, right? Not because you are inefficient, but because you never have removed it from your actual head. Removing from your head means you're putting it on a piece of paper, you document it, you systemize it, and now you don't need to think about it because you already have it working for you. It's like you literally automate it. So what repeated work actually looks like. So let's just say you're answering the same client question. Somebody asks you, well, can you tell me like what happens in the first month? Okay. And so this question is being asked by every single client that you're currently onboarding. Now, instead of you actually saying, hey, instead of you taking 1 hour explaining them that, you send them a Loom video that explains all the questions and answers everything, and you have a template and everything. So for example, explaining onboarding every time. So instead of also jumping every time with every single client, you have a Loom, you have a template, everything's done. Reviewing the same type of deliverables or giving the same instructions to your team. All of this requires for you to have time leverage where you gain your time back. And the only way you can get it is by having it documented, systemized, and so your team then understands how you think, so they don't have to go for approval every single time. There's already checklist implemented, there's already thought process implemented, right? Same for onboarding, same for answering questions for clients as well. Have already kind of pre-answered questions for the questions that they're going to be asking to you, okay? And then the more questions are being asked, just add them to your system. So the one question could be like that I got asked is all the time is like, hey, what is the process in the first 30 days? So what I did, I automated that. So I was like, hey, these are all the questions that previous clients asked me. I'm just want to answer them in all the Loom video. Now I answered them. All the onboarding was sent a Loom, answering all the questions, templates and everything as well, walking them through. And it was like absolutely a no-brainer for me because I gained so much time back, okay? So there's a simple rule that I follow. If something happens more than twice a week, it should not live inside of your head anymore. It should be actually written down, documented, systemized, so you can now operate and gain your time back. So what you should actually do, okay? Turn repeated work into simple actual assets. So I'm going to give you an example. So onboarding checklist, right? Step-by-step process for new clients. Like what do you need? Maybe is there a couple assets that you need? Maybe is there a couple things you need to walk them through? Maybe is there a couple things that they need to know? So now you have maybe a Loom and an actual checklist, walking them through of what the checklist actually is, what is it for, what is it not for, what they should do with it. Number 2, client update template, right? Same format. So instead of you jumping, like I used to jump on every single week with a client just to give them a review of what's being done and what's not being done, now I actually have a format for that. I have a template that I send them the actual report. So instead of me jumping 1 hour in a call, I send them actually a report that's taking me 5 minutes, right? So that saves me 55 minutes, okay? And then internal guide, how do we do X for your team, right? So maybe your team is waiting for approval from you. Instead of waiting for approval, you could be like, hey, it's approved if this checks out. Check 1, check 2, check 3, check 4, check 4, check 5. Okay? All of this checks out, awesome, it's approved. If it's something missing, let's go back to it, let's get it done, and then let's come back again, okay? So, I worked with my ex-client before. This is an important example I wanted to include. A consulting business they were doing about 28K a month. And this was the problem. The founder was always onboarding every single client manually. And I mean like manually every single time somebody jumped on, he would spend hours, sometimes hour 30, sometimes 2 hours, depending on the client itself, okay? So what we did actually for him to save time, and so for you to really understand time leverage, is we simply replace that every single time jumping a call manually with a checklist, simple document, and recorded walkthrough. That's it. A Loom, walking them through what's going to happen, single document that they need to understand and check off, and a checklist, a couple things that we needed from them. That's it. What happened was that the onboarding time dropped by 60%. And some cases it actually dropped to 70%, okay? So he gained so much time just by having that actually systemized. And that gave him so much time back as well, okay? Same result, much less effort as well. That's called time leverage, okay? So the next one is system leverage. This makes your business to move without you. A system is just a sequence that always happens the same way. It doesn't matter how it happens the same way. Client comes in, this happens. Client comes in, this happens. Instead of like, hey, client comes in, let me just get him on a call. Then when the call happens, then this happens. And if I forget something, I will send it to you. And then after the call, I say, no, it's like everything happens systematically. There's nothing complex. It's just like consistency. So without systems, every step requires thinking, right? Did I actually follow up with the lead? Did I follow up with the client? Did I follow up with this? What happens after they signed, right? What do we send them actually next? That creates decision fatigue, because the more decisions you need to make currently inside of your business, the more fatigued you actually will be. So, but with systems, the process becomes really automatic, okay? So I'll give you an example. So let's say a lead comes in and then you have a follow-up starts. So that could be a trigger, maybe an automatic trigger that already triggers a follow-up. A client signs, let's say they sign a contract, and automatically once they sign a contract, they submit the payment, they sign a contract, everything's cool. You send them the actual onboarding, okay? You onboard them, you send them the Loom, the checklist, and the email or the template, okay? Then work starts and you already start reporting. You maybe have explained how the reporting actually is going to work. The first report comes in that you explain what the reports are going to look like, what they're going to represent, and how frequently they're actually going to come in, okay? So now the business moves without constant input from you, because now that is all automated, right? So to give you a simple implementation, let's just do something really simple. Like if we pick one area, let's just do lead follow-up. So I want you to write down day 1, you send a message. Day 3, you send a reminder. And then day 7, there's a check-in, okay? So now this becomes an actual system inside. So instead of you sending a message and then like, hey, did I follow up with that? Did I didn't follow up with that? Did I send them a reminder? Was it there? No. Now it's systemized. It's the same as Calendly, right? So instead of you, let's say somebody books in a call and you manually sending them actual reminders, you use Calendly. Calendly is systematically sending them all the reminders. You just set them what times you want them and they automatically are being sent out. And the same should work inside of your business as well, okay? So any follow-ups you have, you should have an actual pipeline showing you, hey, when do I actually need to follow up with this client? We went on a sales call, everything happened. Now you have a system that's showing you when to actually follow up. So instead of you having this in your head and be like, hey, did I follow up with him? Who else do I need to follow up? And then you go to your calendar and you kind of start looking for people. You have this in one place, which is called your pipeline, okay? That's it. Now something that dependent on your memory becomes actually structured. So this is really important. I'm gonna highlight this in green and I'm gonna put it in bold. So something that dependent on your memory now becomes actually structured and really useful for your business. Systems don't replace people, they replace the actual chaos. Because there's so many times in my business, I would kind of ask myself, hey, did I follow up with somebody? Hey, there was somebody else missing. I remember I sent somebody an email. Did they actually reply to me? Let me go check. And then I'm kind of checking with them and I'm like, hey, what was their name? I can't remember their name, or can't remember how did I send the email, where did the email. I was like, hey, I spoke to this lead. When did I spoke with him? What was the last thing I said? All of this means it's like living inside of my head and I can't get it out sometimes. And because you can't get it out, you're losing so much time and your decision making is becoming really burnt out as well, okay? Systems will not always replace the people itself inside of your business, but they will replace the entire chaos that's happening, okay? So what founders feel after systems? Usually before, I'm just talking about me personally, I know a lot of you feel the same. Overwhelmed, reactive, always thinking. After, you really become clear, calm, and in control because everything is in front of you. You already know everything that's happening. So you don't need to try to remember things because they're all actually in front of you, okay? So next one is capital leverage, which I think is really important. Using money to multiply actual output, okay? This is where most founders make mistakes. They jump into ads or hiring without understanding their actual numbers. You can't use capital to leverage if you don't know the actual numbers. First thing about the business is to know your actual numbers. So what capital leverage actually is using money to replace actual effort. Instead of manually finding clients, you run ads, hire specialists, and invest in actual tools. This is what it actually means, okay? The problem is that most founders do this too early without knowing conversion rates, pipeline numbers, and client value itself. So money feels like at risk all the time. So what do you need to do first, right? Before using capital, you must know lead, call rate, call, close rate, average client value as well. And to be really short, also know your cost acquisition as well, okay? So example, to give you a good example, let's say you close 25% of calls. Your average client is worth 5K. That means 4 calls equal 1 client equals 5K. Now you can predict if ads bring in 40 calls, 10 clients, 50K. That's what you should be making. So now this also becomes measurable, but not only measurable, now you also can start forecasting. Now you can start looking at it. Now you can start looking at the little costs. You can look for CPC. You can look for all the numbers that matter. But it's really important that you know your numbers before you actually run ads or before you use capital as a leverage. Now spending actually becomes logical, not emotional anymore. Because a lot of times I see a lot of coaches, what they do, they act from a place of actual desperation. Oh, I want to run ads, become like, I don't have enough leads, I need to get more leads, okay? So to give you a real example, an agency at 40K a month wanted to run ads, okay? This is one of our clients I'm speaking, but they didn't know their actual close rate. And he said to me, hey, you know, Rob, my biggest problem currently is that we are not getting enough qualified leads. We want to get more leads, okay? And he always said to me, it's the leads, it's the leads. Once we actually checked and I asked him, hey, what's your close rate per call? Like, how do you close? First of all, he didn't know his close rate, but the second thing was that his problem was the actual conversion itself. He didn't know how to actually convert. So just by running ads, he would be actually burning money. So what we fixed first was the actual close rate itself and the conversion. That introduced the actual opportunity to run ads. Within 60 days, the pipeline became really predictable, and that's capital leverage done correctly. When you know the number. If you don't know your close rate, right, and let's say you think you need more leads, but you can't close leads and you have conversion problems, then what ends up happening is you're just going to be wasting a lot of money and burning a lot of money, okay? And the fourth is audience leverage, the asset that most people actually ignore, and a lot of business owners actually ignore this in 2026. This is the most undervalued leverage and the most powerful long-term leverage. So what audience really means, it's not that your followers, and it's not likes, it's people who understand how you think, trust your approach, and believe you can actually solve their problems up front, okay? So why this matters? Because without audience, every sale always starts from actual zero, okay? So a follower is somebody that just decided to actually follow you, okay? But a person that understands you, they trust you, they have been with you a long time. Let's say this could be your community, your own audience inside, you know, for them for a really long time, really well. Or you maybe have followers that have followed you maybe a long time ago, but they already have became your community. That's completely changed the dynamic of this, okay? So now you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time you have a product or a service. You can get much faster actual feedback from your community. You can get much faster sales from your community. You can get faster validation as well, okay? With audience, people already know you and they already are convinced that you can actually help them. So what you should do, you should create content that teaches, shows your thinking, and explains real actual problems inside of their lives, inside of their careers, or inside of their businesses, or inside of their relationships, okay? So it should be not motivation, not noise, but real actual insights that help them to educate about the things that currently are happening, okay? So example, if someone watches 5 of your videos and learns how you think, how you diagnose, how you solve problems, by the time they book a call, they already are sold on the actual process itself. And that's really becomes your actual leverage. So long-term effect, audience becomes your demand engine, your trust layer, and your leverage multiplier. So the real shift at 20 to 30K, effort drives growth, right? 20 to 30, I would say 10 to 30, okay, just want to make this kind of, in some business models, yes, you can get to 30K by just pure effort. In some business models, and these business models would be mostly, I would say, agency, you cannot get to 30K just by effort alone, because you will need to use some sort of leverage, like either it could be another person, contractors, another. In coaching, In consulting, yes, you can get to 30K, but with agency, sometimes it will not happen, okay? So at 20 to 30K, effort drives growth. At 30 to 50K, effort starts to create pressure, because now you don't have enough hours inside of your day as well. Because right now you can't say, well, I got so much clients, I wish I had more hours. So for this, you need to really start systemizing, standardizing the delivery. You really need to start looking at your demand and stabilizing the business as well to scale to the next level. At 50K plus, leverage becomes actually required. You need to start using leverages, okay? So what you should do next, I want you to start really simple. You don't need everything at once. You don't need all four, but you need to focus on removing repeated actual work inside your business, building one system, either it's a demand, delivery, or conversion, understanding your actual numbers. I'm just gonna put this in a highlight. This is really important. Understanding your numbers is really, really important, because that will help you to understand where your business currently is and how well your business is actually currently performing. And then 4, starting to build an actual audience as well, okay? That's how leverage is built over time. Most founders at some point start thinking that I just need to work harder, which is not true. Like at some point you sometimes say, hey, I need to get another person and we just need to work hard and that's all. No. You really need to start thinking about leverages and systems inside of your business. But the real answer is you need to work differently, okay? Not harder, differently. Leverage is what allows business to grow without breaking, without overwhelming you, without becoming chaotic inside of the business. Because a lot of times I was at the stage as well in my business where everything was living inside of my head. And that was the main problem that was actually keeping me stuck in 30 to 50K, because I had some parts kind of automated, but most of the decision making and most of the numbers and everything was living inside of my head, okay? So, and the earlier you understand this, the easier it will become to actually scale your business. So scale to 100K per month. What does it mean? Okay, if you want your business to move beyond 30, 40, 50K months, you need to stop thinking in terms of effort and start thinking in terms of actual leverage, systems, and where you can start gaining your time back and how can you use the capital you have in the business to actually get more output. Okay, so if you really enjoy this video, smash a like, comment down below if you need any additional help or you maybe have a couple questions about the content itself. Subscribe to my channel. It's gonna help me not only with algorithm, but it's gonna help you to not miss out the next video I put out. That's gonna help you to actually unlock the next level inside of your business, understand your business more deeply, and most importantly, also understand what it actually takes to scale your business to the next level as well.